The Jupiter's Dream drifted like a broken wing against the obsidian void. Her hull split open in a crystalline spray of atmospheric venting. Sparks cascaded from severed conduits in brilliant amber streams, painting Hunter's face in flickering gold as he worked frantically at the navigation console. The freighter shuddered with each dying breath of her engines, metal groaning like a wounded beast. Hunter's fingers moved with surgical precision across the flickering displays, his jaw set in grim concentration. 23 years of deep space runs had taught him to read a ship's death rattle, and the Dream was singing her final song. The antimatter containment field fluctuated wildly on his readouts. Minutes, maybe less. The proximity alarms screamed suddenly, harsh and desperate. Three massive shapes materialized from the stellar debris field, sleek predators emerging from their hunting grounds. Pirate vessels, all angular armor plating and weapon arrays that gleamed like metallic teeth. Their hulls bore the crimson slashes of the Scarix raiders, a name that made merchant captains wake screaming in cold sweats. Hunter leaned back in his pilot's chair, studying the approaching ships with curious calm. His hands stilled on the controls as the lead vessel's docking clamps engaged with bone-jarring force. The freighter's hull shrieked in protest, rivets popping like gunshots in the thin air. Boarding pods hammered against the airlock with rhythmic thunder. Hunter rose slowly, smoothing down his simple gray jumpsuit, and walked toward the breach with his hands visible and empty. The airlock cycled with a pneumatic hiss. Four armored figures stormed through the opening, plasma rifles trained with military precision. Their leader stood nearly 8 feet tall. Her scaled hide a mottled bronze that seemed to absorb and reflect light in predatory patterns. Sergeant stripes marked her shoulder plates, and a neural interface crown crowned her elongated skull. The alien's amber eyes fixed on Hunter with calculating interest. Her voice carried the harmonics of a natural predator when she spoke in accented standard. "Welcome aboard, human. I am war leader Vexana of the Scarix Raiders. You belong to us now." Hunter raised his hands higher, letting relief flood his features. "Thank the stars. I thought I was going to die out here. The containment field is failing, and I don't have the training to fix it." Vexana's head tilted, studying him like a specimen. Her troops maintained their firing positions, but something in her posture shifted. The human civilian showed no fear, only grateful exhaustion. She gestured with her rifle. "You are unharmed, scared but breathing." Hunter's voice carried just the right tremor of shock. "My ship was hit by debris from the asteroid mining operation in Sector 7. I've been drifting for 2 days with minimal life support." The war leader exchanged glances with her second, a compact alien whose purple skin rippled with bioluminescent patterns. Their species communicated partially through light displays, and Hunter watched the exchange with innocent curiosity. Vexana made a decision. Bring him. Standard salvage protocols. If he cooperates, he might prove valuable for ransom or trade. The pirate's efficiency impressed Hunter despite himself. Within minutes, they had transferred him to their assault vessel, the Bone Reaper, while a skeleton crew began stripping useful components from the dying freighter. Hunter sat quietly in the detention bay, hands folded, watching everything with wide-eyed fascination. The ship's corridor architecture spoke of military discipline adapted to piracy. Weapon racks lined the bulkheads, but they were properly maintained, not carelessly scattered. The crew moved with practiced coordination, each alien knowing their role in the complex choreography of deep space raiding. Hunter memorized patrol schedules without appearing to do so. Guard rotations followed predictable patterns. The detention bay's security relied more on intimidation than sophisticated electronics. Standard pirate overconfidence. War leader Vexana visited him during the journey, her curiosity apparently piqued by his calm acceptance of capture. She stood outside the containment field, arms crossed over her armored chest. You are remarkably composed for a civilian facing enslavement, or worse. Most humans weep or rage or attempt futile negotiations. Hunter shrugged with apparent embarrassment. I've been hauling cargo through contested space for years. Pirates are just another occupational hazard, better than radiation poisoning or explosive decompression. You accept your fate so easily. Fighting would only get me killed faster. Hunter met her amber gaze with steady brown eyes. Besides, you saved my life. That has to count for something in any civilized code. Vexana's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. Civilized, an interesting choice of words. The conversation revealed more than she intended. Hunter learned about their destination, a heavily fortified asteroid base called Crocteth Station. 3,000 raiders called it home, along with support staff, families, and an extensive black market operation. The Scarex controlled 6-star systems from their rocky fortress. 2 days later, Crocteth Station filled the viewport like a metallic tumor growing from the asteroid's surface. Weapon platforms bristled from every angle, and patrol craft swarmed around the perimeter in defensive formations. The base represented 40 years of pirate expansion, carved from solid rock and reinforced with stolen military architecture. Hunter pressed his face to the observation port with obvious awe. This is incredible. How did you build something so massive? Vexana stood beside him, pride evident in her posture. Generation by generation. My grandfather's grandfather first claimed this rock. Each war leader since has expanded the holdings. The docking procedures fascinated Hunter even more. He asked innocent questions about traffic control, defense protocols, and command structure. Vexana answered with the casual authority of someone born to leadership, never noticing how her prisoner cataloged every detail. The station's interior overwhelmed the senses. Vast caverns housed marketplaces where dozens of alien species traded everything from weapons to spices to slaves. Cargo haulers rumbled through corridors wide enough for assault vehicles. The air thrummed with the constant activity of a thriving underground economy. Hunters holding cell lay deep in the administrative section, a sterile cube with a single viewport overlooking the central command hub. He sat on the narrow bunk, hands clasped, watching the constant flow of information through the station's nerve center. War leader Vexana had assigned him to detention supervisor Corex, a scarred veteran whose purple hide bore the ritual tattoos of a dozen successful campaigns. Corex treated his prisoners with professional disinterest, neither cruel nor kind. The supervisor's daily routines revealed security weaknesses that Hunter filed away for future reference. Guard changes occurred at predictable intervals. The detention level's automated systems relied on outdated encryption protocols. Most importantly, the administrative staff trusted their technological superiority over individual initiative. Hunter established himself as a model prisoner during his first week. He asked permission before moving around his cell. He ate the provided rations without complaint. He even expressed fascination with Scarex culture when guards were willing to talk. The younger pirates found his questions endearing. They boasted about raid victories and showed off their specialized equipment. Hunter listened with rapt attention, occasionally asking for clarification about technical specifications or tactical deployments. Gradually, almost imperceptibly, he began offering suggestions. When Guard Prime Thesek complained about inefficient duty rosters, Hunter mentioned scheduling optimization techniques used by legitimate shipping companies. The improvements were minor but measurable, earning Hunter a grudging respect from the detention staff. When Corex struggled with prisoner manifest databases, Hunter volunteered his experience with cargo tracking systems. His modifications streamlined the entire detention operation, reducing paperwork and improving accountability. Word of the helpful human prisoner spread through the administrative levels. Supervisors began requesting his input on logistics problems. Hunter's suggestions always proved practical and effective, saving time and resources without challenging existing authority structures. 3 weeks after his capture, war leader Vexana summoned him to her office in the command section. The chamber occupied a natural crystal cavern, its walls lined with trophy weapons and battle honors. Vexana sat behind a desk carved from a single piece of black asteroid rock. You have been remarkably useful, human. My staff speaks highly of your contributions to operational efficiency. Hunter bowed his head respectfully. I'm grateful for the opportunity to prove my worth. Your people saved my life, and I want to repay that debt. Vexana studied him with predatory calculation. Perhaps we can arrange a more permanent position. Your skills would be valuable in our broader operations. I would be honored to serve. Hunter's voice carried exactly the right mixture of gratitude and enthusiasm. The war leader's decision changed everything. Hunter received expanded access to station facilities, officially classified as a consultant rather than a prisoner. His recommendations began affecting larger operational areas, always framed as ways to improve efficiency or reduce costs. Hunter's first major project involved optimizing the station's power distribution grid. The existing system wastefully routed energy through redundant pathways, a legacy of decades of unplanned expansion. His redesign promised significant cost savings. The engineering staff welcomed his expertise enthusiastically. Chief Engineer Drakos, a massive alien whose crystalline hide sparkled under the workshop lights, became Hunter's most vocal supporter within the technical departments. Your modifications are brilliant, human. We will save thousands of credits annually on power costs alone. Hunter worked alongside the engineering teams for weeks, personally overseeing the installation of his improvements. The new system performed exactly as promised, delivering power more efficiently while reducing maintenance requirements. What the pirates didn't realize was that Hunter had built invisible backdoors into every modification, emergency overrides that looked like safety features, diagnostic routines that could become shutdown commands, control pathways that responded to specific signal combinations only he knew. By his second month on Crocte Station, Hunter had become indispensable to daily operations. His suggestions improved everything from inventory management to patrol scheduling. The administrative staff couldn't imagine functioning without their remarkably talented consultant. War leader Vexana granted him progressively greater access and authority. Hunter received quarters in the officers' section, complete with communication privileges and movement freedom throughout most of the station. Guards nodded respectfully when he passed in the corridors. Hunter used his newfound status to expand his influence systematically. He identified key personnel in every department, learning their responsibilities and frustrations. He offered solutions to problems they hadn't even realized existed. Communications Officer Nexar appreciated Hunter's help streamlining message routing protocols. Security Chief Valthex welcomed his suggestions for improving perimeter monitoring efficiency. Even Quartermaster Zephon found value in Hunter's inventory optimization algorithms. Each improvement contained hidden modifications that only Hunter could access. Command override codes buried in maintenance subroutines. Communication backdoors disguised as efficiency upgrades. Security bypasses hidden within legitimate monitoring protocols. The pirates trusted him completely by the third month. Hunter attended strategic planning meetings, contributed to operational decisions, and had access to classified intelligence databases. His integration into the Scarex hierarchy seemed natural and inevitable. Nobody suspected that the helpful human consultant was methodically gaining control of their entire operation. The revelation began on a Tuesday morning when war leader Vexana attempted to access the command database for quarterly raid planning. Her terminal displayed an error message she had never seen before. Authorization required 4 classified access. Vexana frowned, entering her command codes again. The same message appeared. She called Communications Officer Nexar for technical support. Nexar arrived within minutes, his bioluminescent skin patterns flickering with confusion. War Leader, I cannot explain this malfunction. The system appears to be functioning normally, but it will not accept command-level authorization. Run a full diagnostic. Vexana's voice carried an edge of irritation. I need those raid schedules within the hour. The diagnostic revealed something impossible. Every computer system on Crocte Station had been modified with unauthorized security protocols. Access levels had been restructured. Command hierarchies had been altered. War leader Vexana stormed toward Hunter's quarters with a full squad of armed guards. She found him sitting calmly at his desk, hands folded, watching the station's security feeds on his personal terminal. What have you done, human? Hunter looked up with mild surprise. Good morning, War Leader. I was just reviewing the morning reports. We had some interesting developments overnight. Do not play innocent with me. Vexana's voice carried lethal fury. You have sabotaged our computer systems. Sabotaged. Hunter's expression showed genuine confusion. I've been improving them for months. Every modification was approved by department supervisors. You locked me out of my own command systems. Hunter's eyebrows rose in apparent concern. That's troubling. Perhaps there's been a miscommunication about access protocols. Let me check the security logs. His fingers moved across the terminal's interface with casual efficiency. The wall screens throughout his quarters came alive with data streams, security camera feeds, and system monitoring displays. Ah, I see the problem. Hunter's voice remained perfectly calm. It appears someone has been attempting unauthorized access to classified databases. The security protocols activated automatically to protect sensitive information. I am the war leader of this station. Vexana's mandibles clicked with barely contained rage. There is no authority higher than mine. Of course not. Hunter stood slowly, his movement careful and unthreatening. But the system doesn't recognize command authority from compromised terminals. It's a safety feature designed to prevent hostile takeovers. Compromised terminals. Hunter gestured to the security feeds, displaying dozens of monitoring stations throughout Crocte Station. Every console showed the same error message. Authorization required 4 classified access. Your people have been locked out of core systems for approximately 6 hours now. The automated security protocols detected irregular access patterns and implemented protective measures. Vexana's amber eyes narrowed dangerously. And you control these security protocols. I designed them to protect the station's interests. Hunter's tone remained helpful and professional. Naturally, I retain administrative access to resolve technical issues. The guards raised their weapons, plasma rifles humming with lethal energy. War leader Vexana's voice dropped to a predatory growl. Restore my access immediately, or you die where you stand. Hunter nodded with apparent understanding. Of course, that's perfectly reasonable. He turned to his terminal and began entering commands. The wall screens shifted to display new information. Ship deployment schedules, personnel records, financial databases, communication logs. Your access is restored, War Leader. Hunter stepped away from the terminal with a polite gesture. Please verify that everything functions properly. Vexana approached the terminal suspiciously, her rifle trained on Hunter's chest. She entered her command codes, expecting immediate access to the station's systems. Instead, the screen displayed a new message. Access DENIED. Insufficient authorization level. This is impossible. Vexana spun toward Hunter, her weapon raised. I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding about your security clearance. Hunter's voice carried apologetic regret. The system has determined that your authorization level is insufficient for administrative access. I built this station. My family has controlled these systems for generations. Previous authorization structures have been deemed inadequate for current security requirements. Hunter gestured to the wall displays showing real-time station monitoring. As you can see, all critical systems remain fully operational under optimized management protocols. The wall screens provided undeniable evidence of Hunter's control. Power distribution, life support, artificial gravity, atmospheric processing, communications, defensive systems. Everything responded to his commands with seamless efficiency. Vexana keyed her communication device with shaking claws. Security alert. Code black. All personnel to emergency stations. The device remained silent. Hunter watched her efforts with patient sympathy. Communication systems require proper authorization for emergency broadcasts. The security protocols prevent unauthorized use of critical infrastructure. You cannot do this. Vexana's voice cracked with desperate fury. This is mutiny, theft, an act of war. Hunter's expression showed genuine surprise. War leader, I believe you misunderstand the situation. I haven't stolen anything or committed any hostile acts. I've simply implemented security improvements you requested. I never requested this. Every modification was approved by your department's supervisors. Hunter gestured to the monitoring displays. Your own people authorized these improvements. The documentation is quite comprehensive. The wall screens shifted to display approval records, signed authorizations, and project implementation schedules. Every document bore official Scarex signatures and administrative seals. These protocols were designed to protect Crocte Station from external threats and internal security breaches. They appear to be functioning exactly as intended. Vexana stared at the evidence of her own administrative approval, her mind struggling to process the implications. 3 months of gradual modifications, each one reasonable and beneficial in isolation, now combined into an absolute security takeover. You planned this from the beginning. Hunter's head tilted slightly, considering the accusation. I planned to be useful to the people who saved my life. Every suggestion I made was intended to improve operational efficiency and security. The fact that these improvements now protect the station from security threats seems fortuitous. The guards shifted nervously, uncertain whether to maintain their firing positions. Their weapons remained trained on Hunter, but his calm demeanor and reasonable explanations confused their tactical assessment. War leader Vexana made a final desperate attempt to reassert control. Security Chief Valthex, report to my position immediately with a full tactical team. Her communication device crackled briefly before Hunter's voice emerged from the speaker. Security Chief Valthex is currently investigating suspicious activity in the outer perimeter. He cannot be reached for non-emergency communications. Vexana's amber eyes widened with horrified understanding. You control our communications, only during security alerts. Hunter's voice carried patient explanation. The protocols prevent unauthorized personnel from disrupting critical security operations. The war leader's next words came out as a strangled whisper. What do you want? Hunter appeared to consider the question carefully. I want the same thing I've wanted since arriving here. To prove my worth to the people who saved my life. To contribute meaningfully to this community's success. He gestured to the wall displays showing station operations running with unprecedented efficiency. Under current management protocols, Crocte Station operates at 97% efficiency rating. Power consumption is down 18%. Security response times have improved by 23%. Maintenance costs have decreased by 31%. You're holding us hostage. I'm ensuring optimal operational security. Hunter's tone remained helpful and professional. The system protects against internal and external threats while maximizing resource utilization. It's exactly what any responsible administrator would implement. Vexana's weapon trembled in her claws. The magnitude of Hunter's manipulation began sinking in. 3 months of careful planning. Hundreds of small modifications building toward this moment. Complete system control achieved through her own authorized approvals. The guards looked between their war leader and the human consultant, uncertain how to proceed. Their training prepared them for external attacks, not administrative coups executed through legitimate channels. Hunter noticed their confusion with apparent sympathy. This situation must be very stressful for everyone. Perhaps we should arrange a meeting with department supervisors to clarify the new organizational structure. New organizational structure. Temporary administrative adjustments to ensure operational continuity during the current security alert. Hunter's explanation sounded perfectly reasonable. Once the threat assessment is completed, normal command hierarchies can be evaluated for restoration. What threat assessment? Hunter's expression grew concerned. War leader, surely you've noticed the irregular authorization attempts throughout the station's computer systems. Someone has been probing our defenses, testing access protocols, attempting to compromise security barriers. That was me, trying to access my own systems. Precisely. Hunter nodded with understanding. The security protocols correctly identified these attempts as potential hostile infiltration. The system responded appropriately to protect classified information and critical infrastructure. The circular logic trapped Vexana completely. Her attempts to regain control had triggered the very security measures that prevented her from regaining control. Every effort to override Hunter's modifications only validated the system's threat assessment. You have to restore my access. The war leader's voice carried desperate authority. I am responsible for 3,000 lives on this station, and you'll continue to be responsible for them. Hunter's tone grew reassuring. Under optimized management protocols, safety and security have improved measurably. The statistical evidence is quite compelling. The wall displays shifted to show safety metrics, casualty reports, and operational efficiency ratings. Every indicator demonstrated improved performance under Hunter's administrative oversight. Your people are safer now than they've been in decades. Equipment failures are down 40%. Accident rates have decreased by 60%. Resource allocation has eliminated previous supply shortages. Vexana stared at the undeniable evidence of improved conditions throughout Crocte Station. Her hostile takeover had been achieved through genuine operational improvements that benefited everyone aboard. 3 hours later, department supervisors filled the main conference chamber for an emergency administrative meeting. Hunter sat at the head of the table, hands folded, while armed guards flanked war leader Vexana at the opposite end. The supervisor's confusion was evident as Hunter explained the new organizational structure. Temporary security protocols had necessitated administrative adjustments. Department access would be restored gradually as security clearances were verified. Chief Engineer Drakos raised a crystalline appendage. The modifications you implemented have improved power efficiency beyond our expectations. If these protocols enhance overall security, I support their continuation. Communications Officer Nexar's bioluminescent patterns flickered agreement. Message routing operates flawlessly under current management. I see no operational concerns. One by one, department supervisors endorsed the new administrative structure. Hunter's improvements had made their jobs easier and more effective. The security restrictions seemed reasonable given recent efficiency gains. War leader Vexana watched her authority dissolve with bureaucratic efficiency. Her own people preferred Hunter's management to her traditional leadership style. The hostile takeover had become an administrative transition approved by departmental consensus. Hunter addressed the assembled supervisors with respectful gratitude. This transition period will continue until security assessments are completed. I appreciate your patience and cooperation during these temporary adjustments. Quartermaster Zephon raised a tentacled appendage. Will raiding operations continue under current protocols? All external operations will proceed as scheduled. Hunter's response carried reassuring authority. The security modifications enhance our capability to conduct successful raids while protecting our base of operations. The meeting concluded with formal approval of temporary administrative protocols. Department supervisors filed out discussing improved efficiency ratings and reduced operational stress. None questioned the fundamental change in station leadership. War leader Vexana remained in her chair, staring at her claws with hollow-eyed defeat. Hunter approached her position with gentle sympathy. This must be very difficult for you. His voice carried genuine understanding. Leadership transitions are always challenging, especially when they happen quickly. You destroyed everything my family built. I preserved everything your family built. Hunter gestured toward the conference chamber's displays showing station operations. Crocte Station is more successful now than ever before. Your people are safer, more prosperous, and more secure. But you control it all. I manage operational efficiency. Hunter's correction seemed important to him. Your people continue to live their lives, pursue their careers, and build their futures. The only difference is administrative optimization. Vexana looked up with bitter realization. You're not going to kill us. Why would I kill anyone? Hunter appeared genuinely puzzled by the suggestion. This station represents an extraordinary achievement in engineering and social organization. Destroying it would be wasteful and counterproductive. Then what happens to us? You continue being pirates. Hunter's answer came with matter-of-fact simplicity. You raid merchant vessels, trade on black markets, and maintain your territorial holdings. The only change is improved operational efficiency. Under your control, under optimized management protocols. Hunter's distinction carried subtle importance. The system protects against security threats while maximizing operational effectiveness. Everyone benefits from improved performance. War leader Vexana realized the full scope of her defeat. Hunter hadn't conquered Crocte Station through violence or traditional warfare. He had improved it into submission, making himself indispensable through genuine competence and beneficial modifications. 6 months later, Crocte Station operated with unprecedented efficiency under Hunter's administrative oversight. Raiding operations achieved higher success rates with lower casualty figures. Trade revenues increased by 40%. Internal conflicts decreased to negligible levels. Former war leader Vexana served as director of external operations, a position that utilized her military expertise while acknowledging the new organizational hierarchy. She led raids with tactical brilliance, returning with valuable cargo and minimal losses. The pirates had never been more successful or prosperous. They also had never been less free. Hunter's control remained absolute but invisible. Department supervisors managed their areas with apparent autonomy, never realizing that their decisions flowed through optimization algorithms that guided outcomes toward predetermined objectives. The Scarex raiders continued raiding, but their targets were carefully selected to avoid merchant vessels, carrying critical medical supplies or humanitarian cargo. Their operations disrupted only those trade routes that competed with hunters' preferred commercial partners. Black market trading flourished under new efficiency protocols, but weapons sales were quietly restricted to prevent technology transfer to certain hostile factions. Information brokering expanded dramatically, providing intelligence that somehow always supported hunters' strategic objectives. None of the pirates understood how completely their independence had vanished. They lived better lives under benevolent management that anticipated their needs and optimized their outcomes while maintaining the illusion of choice. Hunter established himself in the former war leader's chambers, a crystal cavern that now served as his administrative center. Multiple displays showed real-time monitoring of station operations, external trade networks, and political developments throughout the six systems under Skarek's influence. He had transformed a pirate base into the foundation of a commercial empire. The former raiders now served as his enforcement arm, their reputation for violence providing diplomatic leverage in negotiations with legitimate governments and criminal organizations alike. The transformation pleased him in ways he hadn't anticipated. Building something constructive from chaos appealed to instincts he had never fully understood. These people had saved his life, and he had repaid that debt by making their lives immeasurably better. That his methods had required absolute deception and manipulation seemed irrelevant compared to the measurable improvements in safety, prosperity, and security for everyone under his protection. Hunter leaned back in his chair, studying the latest efficiency reports with quiet satisfaction. Crocte Station had become exactly what he had always intended it to become, the most successful pirate base in known space, operated with ruthless efficiency by a man who had never fired a shot in anger.